Attention all mobile phone gamers, especially those of you with a modern iPhone capable of playing console quality ports and games right on the slab of glass in your pocket. If you want a great all-rounder of a gamepad, then look no further than the Abxylute S8 Controller. Now this controller's main claim to fame is that it does not require a physical connection, among more. It will connect to a wide range of devices via Bluetooth support. It supports X input for PC and Xbox, as well as the Nintendo Switch 2 and iOS. It has the traditional Xbox button layout and stick asymmetry that you will either love or hate as well. However, being able to use this as a more comfortable grip potentially for your Switch 2 and your phone is a hard bargain to beat. Not to mention, it could be used on its own as a standalone controller for the Xbox as a main or secondary controller. Some of you may actually find that the extended layout is more ergonomically friendly for wider frame people, or if you find tilting your elbows more inwards gets uncomfortable over periods of time, and having the added bonus of placing your phone inside using it as a YouTube machine while playing your games. Inside the box is pretty barren, so I pretty much just tossed it out, but they did have an included swappable D-pad giving the traditional 4-way and 8-way layout, and as a plus it is pretty deeply sunk in, so there's really no chance of you launching it off mid-session. There is a dedicated mobile app called ABXY GAME, and while it does feature a lot of robust settings, including motion controllers, dead zone settings for sticks and triggers, which are both Hall effect by the way, even going as so far as to being able to control and remap all of your buttons on the back and front, as well as having touch compatible conversions done in these little profiles that they set up. However, this is all at the behest of how developers basically develop their mobile games. You see, very few games actually have support themselves for dead zone specific settings, which really wouldn't be the end of the world. But many developers have baked in dead zones that you cannot change. Only games like Destiny Rising have I seen it done. Now this is not the fault of the controller, but again the fault of the designers of the games. You can see in the footage that I'm showing off here that in the dead zone settings that there's basically free motion everywhere I go, but then when you go over into the actual game you can see there's a lot of slop in the stick. Now, in this app as well, there is kind of a traditional launcher style home screen within the app as well, showing popular games and cloud games there if you're into all that sort of stuff. Now, getting into my everyday use with this controller for the past little while I've had it, it's actually been pretty darn good, to be honest. It's highly packable, mainly inside the front pouch of my lunch bag, and so on break I can actually play some games on my phone in comfort at my desk. I use the LTT silicone stick grips to protect the sticks from being crushed or moved inside of my bag or anywhere else I decide to store it. My only real complaint though is the power button can sometimes get triggered, as it only takes about a second to connect while being held. So if jostling around inside a bag, there is a strong possibility that your controller could connect to your phone. But it does seem that it'll connect for a little bit, and after about 30 seconds or so it will shut off so long as there's no buttons being pressed continually. Maybe having a toggle switch somewhere would be a better option for these controllers that are meant to be stored and carried around in bags. Another slight pain was trying to remember the button combo to switch the connection methods. Now this would have been easily solved with the sticker on the back to remind you, which you will likely forget. Now this has been relayed back to the company on my behalf as well. However, these are minor complaints to an otherwise pretty great experience. It's been a real treat playing things like Grid Legends, Destiny Rising, Diablo Immortal, Resident Evil 2 and 4, and other high quality iOS games. Dredge has also been a really great one too that I haven't checked out at all before playing it on my phone. Now, battery life has been solid. It's lasted weeks for me on a single charge, to be honest, but that's been with minimal use at work, at home, and in bed, stuff like that. When you do need to charge it up, there's an angled port to help keep it in line and out of the way, also presumably allowing for an easier design process instead of needing to have it inside the center and being able to accommodate that from extending and whatnot. Now, having the purple peek out underneath the joysticks is a real treat, as it's my personal favorite color and channel color. So there is not much to hate about this controller in my opinion, as it is of high quality with a variety of use cases. Now, a lot of reviews on their website have stated using it with the Samsung Fold style is a real treat, to which I probably would agree with, as I've been a previous owner of these ones and it would have been a nice controller to have with that format. Unfortunately, it did not fit my iPad M4 11-inch model, but it should probably fit the iPad mini, as well as similar tablets like the Red Magic ones. Keep it to probably 8 inches at most though, and you should be okay. Now, I do actually have a GameSir controller, and due to its USB-C connection with my iPhone in its case, I would have to always take it out to get a connection. It was so much of an annoyance to me that I actually cut off the silicone grip around the connector to allow it to work with my case still on. This is not something you'll ever have to consider with the Abxylute S8 controller due to the Bluetooth connection. The final gripe then in my everyday use would be to mention again the lack of dead zone settings within most applications. Although you can dial it in with the provided app, it will not carry over if the game does not have hard-coded dead zone settings, expecting non-Hall based sticks or just allowing kind of basically 30% dead zone range. But again, this is not an absolute problem, this is a developer problem. To round things off, this controller is pretty good at what it does for a decent price considering the competition in the space. If the controller was able to adapt an 11-inch iPad, that would have been great. The power button being easily toggleable is an annoyance, but not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of. The only real egregious sin to this controller and how well it handles itself is in fact the developers do not take into proper consideration the settings needed for these modern controllers to dial into their game. Now, another annoyance is that certain games still do not allow for controller-based input either, but the ABXY GAME app has the profiles released to use with controllers with them. It still won't feel as good as native support, but it is something. If you're a heavy mobile phone gamer, whether it be emulation, native apps, or ports, you can't go wrong with this controller, unless the asymmetry sticks bother you. But it definitely makes up for it with its customizability within the app. Whether it be the back buttons or remapping the face buttons, you can use it with Switch 1 or Switch 2, or really with any other device you desire, even if it is a PC or console. If you want to pick one of these up, please use the links below, and thanks again to Abxylute for sending this over for review, and as always, I hope you all have a great day.